Hello, hello. This is a whole pineapple. Oh my god, it just stayed there. God, it's like a whole pineapple. Oh, pineapple vibe. What is going on? Good morning, Lauren. Hi. Say hello if you're jumping on live. Want to have a riff with you today? Oh my god, I look like I have a bird's nest or a Brillo pad attached to the back of my head. When people say to me, I'm so envious of your curly hair, I'd like to point them to this moment. Look at that bit, fucking hell. Oh, Christ alive. Good morning. Do say hello if you're here, live, replay, wherever you're catching this. Come here, hi. He's staring at me like, come on, let me up on the couch. There you go. Under your blanket. So, how are we doing today? Tell me all the things. How are you doing? I can see we've got a few people live, so just if you are live, then say hello. Don't leave a girl hanging. I mean, this is distracting, isn't it? Let me see if I can do something about this. This is what happens when you wash your hair, then you go and you train for 2 hours and do sparring and get sweated on, not just by yourself, but by many other people. And then expect your hair to behave the next day. It's just not going to happen, is it? Just going to let it be. It just is what it is. Hi, Claire. Thanks. Au naturel, baby. Au naturel. Whew, I'm getting hot already. So I want to talk to you about something today, which bizarrely, I was actually told, I was advised a few months ago that it wasn't a good idea to talk about this subject because it would attract people who feel like this is an issue for them. And I'm like, yeah, but it's always been an issue for me, so why wouldn't I talk about it? I have a very intimate relationship with worthiness, self-worth, all of that stuff. And for those of you who are into human design, then I do, as you know, talk about it all the time. I have an open will center, so the kind of worthiness stuff and the, you know, like that self-worth stuff can come up for me quite a lot. And in my mind, for me personally, what I always find deeply reassuring and very endearing actually about someone and like another human is when I'm watching them and I perceive them to have a level of success or confidence or something, and then I find out that actually part of their journey has really been about falling more deeply in love with themselves, understanding, you know, where they've experienced a lack of wealth, thinking about cosmic wealth because it's like in my field right now, like where they've experienced issues with their own self-worth or their own worthiness and how that's maybe held them back in the past, how they've overcome that. To me, that's always something that I'm like, wow, yeah, this is exciting, this is inspiring for me. And I was thinking today as I was walking in the woods, like, this is such a big part of my journey. Why the fuck wouldn't I talk about it? Like, it's so crazy to me. So I'm going to talk about it. Okay, deal with it. So one of the biggest areas that I feel in my experience of working with people around money, around success, around everything I've ever worked with people around is really this piece around worthiness. How much wealth, how much happiness, how much pleasure and, you know, enjoyment do I really deserve to have in my life? How good am I willing to let my life be? And I will ask my clients this quite a lot, like, how easy are you willing to let it be? How good are you willing to let life be? Because that's the only limit. We create the rules. We create the belief systems in our life. And if you don't believe that, then this might be a stretch for you. I might be a stretch for you, quite honestly. I've got hay fever eyeballs, so I'm like having to wear my glasses, but this reflection is annoying me. I might have to close that blind. But for me, a feeling like a deep sense of self-worth, when it's actually from a place of truth and in being embodied, when it feels real, there's no pushing, there's no need to prove, there's no need to overdo things or be constantly questioning if you're receiving external reassurance about what you're doing being right or wrong, or whether you're going to get the result you want. Having a deep sense of self-worth is less about, for me, it's become less about the external results reinforcing my sense of self-worth, and it's become more about how I operate in the micro moments of my life, how I operate when I feel a boundary being tested or pushed or crossed, how I feel when, and how I respond, and the action I take or the thoughts that I allow to occupy my mind, the vibration I allow myself to embody in my physical body, when I feel that I'm settling or allowing myself to convince myself I'm okay with breadcrumbs, is how I would put it. So in past relationships, for example, I have, if you've read my book, then you'll know I talk about this kind of like this whole thing in past relationships, where I would allow myself to continually recreate situations where I would end up in relationships with men, like romantic relationships, that would have me really generating the feelings of love, or what I thought was love. It's really just kind of like being besotted or a little bit obsessed, and in that, like the addiction to the emotional high through my open emotional center, right, human design stuff. I'd be in that heightened emotion of like, I'm loving someone, I'm in love, this is what love is. And it was all this like big frantic energy and this like intense passion. But actually what I was receiving in return was just breadcrumbs. And it got to the point where I was so like starving for a morsel of reciprocation from these people that the smallest thing, a day together, a moment, a look, a phrase, a touch, something would be like, okay, they do love me. And I would be so like, almost like in like, you know, when you're in a calorie deficit and then you're like, oh, I get to eat a meal. Oh, and you're like, I've been starving all day. And now I'm like, yeah, I'm like savaging this food. Or that's kind of how I would feel about like the crumb. I would feel like when I've been in a calorie deficit, for example, like when I've been doing like old school traditional kind of weight loss or weight management methods or whatever, like back in the day, I would be very strict about what I was eating and I would count every single calorie. And then what that would mean was when I would have like there was these biscuits, right, that are quite low calorie but very fucking sugary, very sweet. So they really feel like you're eating like something like, they almost make my mouth do that because they're so sweet. Those party rings, have you ever seen them? They're like circular biscuit with a hole in the middle and they've got icing on them. Have you ever had these things? Do you know what these are? Tell me, have you had party rings? They're such like a childhood biscuit, but they're really quite low in calories for the amount of sweet hit that you get. So I got into this habit of like being in such a place of calorie deficit and deprivation that having like one of those little biscuits would be this fucking massive like, you know, like this one biscuit would be this incredible experience for me, but only because I'd created so much of a deficit and deprivation in my food experience. Are you relating to this? Has anyone ever experienced this kind of thing with actual food? Because we do this with money as well. We do this with money, we do it with love, we do it with everything. Who is resonating with this right now? Tell me in the comments. If I deprive myself of this, if I work really hard, then I can have this little reward. And because I've done so much hard work, I'm really going to be able to enjoy the reward. And now I tend to just live a life of, well, I don't want to have to like earn pleasure or fun or lightness, or I don't want to have to like what I want to say is I don't want to have to work harder and feel more deprived, more energetically drained, and in like an energetic or emotional physical deficit in order to give myself what I want or receive what I want from the universe, from my relationships, from money, of course, always, from my business, you know. Anyone there? I know there are people watching. Talk to me. I won't pick on you. It's not like a stand-up show where I heckle the crowd. I just like to feel like we're in a conversation rather than me just talking at you. But what came through for me the other day in my journaling around worthiness was this idea that I spoke a little bit about it yesterday in a different way, but there's kind of this pendulum, you know. Very often we are brought up, or I certainly was brought up in an environment where my emotional needs were, you know, like my physical needs were met, very much so. I was very, you know, like I always had food, I always had lovely clothes, I always had things, I always had people around me. And yet there were these times when I remember feeling very, how can I, what the words I'm looking for here? I can kind of feel it and I'm wanting to express it in words. Even though I had everything I could possibly have ever wanted in the physical realm, for some reason I created this pattern in myself, and there's no real reason for this, but I created this story inside myself that whatever I received, I had to then give like 10 times as much. So even if someone gave me something as a gift, when I was a little kid, I think I used to just receive it and be really excited. And then as I got older, I started to pick up this messaging kind of energetically from maybe other kids, or I know for certain that really bizarrely, one of my sisters had a boyfriend who I'm now aware of because I've met him in later life, and he said something to me that I was like, wow, that's fucking harsh. I was a kid, like, huh? You know, like about me being like a little princess or something. And I was like, but I really wasn't. Like, I was really shy. I have been like, I was so insecure. I was so afraid of the world. Like, your perception of me being a princess or spoiled from your perception of what you received from your parents. And I know for a fact that they didn't necessarily have like the most loving relationship with their parents when they were kids. So they were kind of projecting onto me. This is my life story as a two-line in human design. Like, everyone projects their shit on me, right? You're projecting his shit onto me, thinking that I was like this spoiled brat or this little princess, when in fact I was just a little kid. Like, I was just a little kid that people loved and wanted to give things to, you know. So it's really interesting that when I'm just like, this is just pieces are clicking as I'm speaking to you, which is often the case for me. So like, you are discovering this with me, which is really fun and exciting. Welcome to the inside of my mind. So what I realized as I'm saying this is, as a tiny little kid, I was actually a magnet for really good stuff in terms of like physical abundance. I used to receive on like at Easter. My mum used to be a hairdresser, and she would have clients round to the house. Like, she would see her hair. She had a little hairdressing room in the house. So she could be with me, right? And still do her job. And I remember one year, I think I had like 21, like 25 Easter eggs, you know? And as a kid, I was so excited. It's not like I was just like, whatever, egg schmeg. What else have you got? You know, like I used to be so excited, and some of her customers would like give my mum a tip and then they'd give me like a pound coin, and I'd be like, I was always so excited by anything I received. And I was just like this little bubble that generated more of that. And I guess because of that, people really liked to give me things, because in a way, when we give to someone who loves to receive, it feels good, right? You know what it's like when you pay someone a compliment and they're like, oh, thank you. You're like, oh, it's fun that you look amazing. Wow, thank you so much. That really means the world to me. Versus like, oh, no, You say to someone, like, you look amazing today. And they go, oh, no. Oh, yeah, like, oh, I felt like shit, though, and I ate way too much yesterday. And you're like, oh, okay, like, by me giving you something good, you've turned that into a reason to make yourself feel bad. So I'm actually not going to say nice things to you anymore because it doesn't feel good to me. If me paying you a compliment turns into this, like, I don't really want to feed that. Whereas if you give someone a compliment or a gift and they're like, oh my God, fuck, this is amazing. Oh my God, I've been wanting one of these for fucking ages. This is incredible. Like, like someone's genuinely excited or like in a state of pleasure when they receive from you, there is definitely a sense of wanting to give more to that person because everyone is winning in that interaction. Everybody is winning when the giver and the receiver are both coming at it from a place of pure abundance and like playfulness and joy in the amplification of that abundance. That feels so fucking good, right? It is actually draining to give things to people who just don't want to receive. Like, that is fucking draining. Giving advice to people who don't want to receive it or haven't, like, even if they've asked for it, if they really don't want to receive it, it's fucking draining to give advice, energy, anything. Money, things, gifts, compliments, time. If they don't really receive it, it feels shit, doesn't it? And that is all about how worthy people feel, how deserving people feel of receiving good stuff. Yeah. So the more that I've implemented working like consciously and mindfully and very intentionally cultivating a sense of worthiness and self, like value of myself, the more that I've done that, the less I need to do, the less I feel I need to fucking prove myself, say, do, be something for somebody else, fix everything for somebody else. The more I'm able to hold my energy, like hold my power and hold my energy if someone else is in trigger around something, the more I value myself, the more I value my energy and my time, which means that a lot of the time, I actually spend a lot of time on my own. And I know that I've said this a lot to you guys, and it is true. I spend a lot of time on my own with just me and my little sausage dog, because if I don't feel a pull to do something, if I don't feel like an energetic yes in my system, I just don't do it. And that is, for me, that is what self-worth feels like on a deeper level of embodiment. So it's not so much about pricing your offering or, you know, like, how do I work with clients or what do I sell or in my business? It's really, for me, this has been becoming, it's a way of being in the world. It's not just a way of acting sometimes, or, you know, how I spend my money or anything like that, or what I create in my business. Worthiness and a sense of self-worth go so much deeper and beyond that. And they really are about the person that you're being in the world, what you are available for, what you're available to receive. And this works both ways, you know. Are you available to receive more of what you want and less available to receive the things that you don't want? We spoke about this a little bit. I can't remember whether it was in Ching or whether it was in the portal, but recently in one of my paid groups, I was talking about, you know, being receptive. It might have even been on a free, it might have even been on my EFT for receiving, which is on my YouTube channel, and it's on my, if you go to my Instagram, Georgina Knoll EFT, you'll find it there as well, and it's got a red cover and it's EFT for receiving if you go to my grid. I think it might have been there, where I was talking about, we have this belief sometimes that if we open ourselves up to receive, then we have to receive everything. We have to say yes to everything that comes to us. And that creates a sense of like wanting to control or contract or hold ourselves in and away from the world and in and away from life to protect ourselves. Whereas when we fully embody a sense of self-worth, worthiness, knowing our own inherent value, and we are living and embodying and being that, vibrating that, like that's what we're radiating out into the world, then that's kind of naturally a filtration system. right? But it also creates a sense of inner strength, because as I was talking about in my live stream yesterday, if you haven't watched yesterday's live stream, by the way, do yourself a favor and watch it. It was one of the best live streams I think I've ever done. It was so just zingy and on point and of that moment that I highly recommend. Once you finish watching this, go watch my live stream from yesterday. Again, it's on YouTube. It's also pinned in my Facebook group, Mindset and Life Transformation. So you can like scroll to the top and look at the pinned and featured bits and it'll be there. Excuse me, energy moving. So really, self-worth, worthiness, a sense of value, they're not things that you can, they're not just like coats that you put on and then you wear them for a bit and you try them out and you only feel that way when you're actively like thinking, right, I'm working on my self-worth. I desire, and this is, you know, tying it into cosmic wealth, because we're likely going to start with the will center. And we're looking at, you know, this is going to be one of the themes we look at in there, is this sense of worthiness. Because when it comes to money and receiving money, creating, asking for money, taking money, being just a receptive vessel for financial abundance, if you on some level don't inherently believe in your worthiness to receive, it is more difficult to receive. And this is not to say that you have to heal every single thread and strand of any worthiness stuff you've got going on. If that's one of your core things in this lifetime that you've come in with, then of course you're going to, you know, of course it's going to be a repeating theme for you, as it has been for me throughout my life. But when you realize that those worthiness pieces might keep coming up, it's just a deeper layer. It's another layer of the onion, right? It's a deeper layer so that you can become even more grounded and embodied in your sense of worth. And as I said a little bit earlier, it's really less about like how you act in the big moments. It's how you respond on a day-to-day basis. What thoughts are you allowing to occupy your mind? What frequencies and beliefs are you allowing to run the show behind the scenes in the smallest moments? Could be, this is such an inane thing it seems, but when you think about this and then you amplify it into all of your life, it gets so big. When we start in the smaller things, it's so much easier for us to cultivate this in a deeper, more embodied, natural way. So for example, it might be something really small like, I have a smoothie every morning. I have the same smoothie pretty much every morning because breakfast, I never used to really eat breakfast, but I know it's important and it does set me up for the day. If I have a nice, healthy, nutritious breakfast, I have a smoothie, the same smoothie pretty much every single day. Now, some days my body will be like, I actually don't want that. I'd like this. And there would have been a time when I would have been like, oh, this actually happened to me yesterday with my lunch. I'm such a Taurus. It's all about food for me. Sacral authority, Anatorian. My life is basically about food and money. This is how I live. And when it came to the food piece, just seeing payments coming in and I'm like, of course. Yes, and thank you. Thank you, universe. More please, always. The universe is like, I got you. Have a little wink at it. Flirt with the universe today. Why not? I like it. What else have you got? I like to have a little flirt with the universe when it sends me money. So yesterday, look, come with me on this journey, okay, around how this relates to worthiness. I know it might sound fucking bonkers and like, what is she talking about? But come with me on the journey. Yesterday, I had some stuff in the fridge ready to go. I'd meal prepped. I was all good to go for my lunch. And then my body started going, I really want this. And I felt into my sacral and I was like, is this what you really want to eat? And it was like, yes. It was like 11:30 in the morning and it basically wanted like roast veggies. I had some roast chicken from the night before. I had gravy. I had all the things, right? And I was like, is this really what you want at 11:30 in the morning? You want me to cook up fucking roast root veggies? And my body's just like, And when I felt into it, I got that, like, if you have a defined sacral, you will know this feeling well. When you really when you think about food and it's going to be delicious, it's like, So that's what my body was saying. And then my mind went, I don't think I can be asked to like get up, peel vegetables, parboil things, roast things, wait for like 40 minutes or whatever, how long, and then I'm gonna say those take more time to roast than those, so that's gonna mean I've got to like put a time on, then I've got to get back up and go and change. What message does that send to my body? If I can't even follow through on giving myself the food that my body is like desiring, going, this is what I want. If I am not willing to honor my fuck yes around what I feed myself, can you imagine where else I'm not honoring my fuck yes? So in that moment, I had an opportunity to follow through, listen to my sacral, give myself what I really wanted. So I got up, went into that kitchen, popped the oven on and got to it. And it was so delicious. Oh my God, like so delicious. I swear I've never eaten a parsnip that tasted so sweet and delicious. It was just like chef's kiss, literally. So those little moments tell us how much we value us. And it might sound completely fucking bonkers, but it's true. I can see how much my relationship with myself and how much more I value myself, how much more just my inherent worthiness is like ingrained in my body and in my way of being. It just is a way of life for me now because of those little moments. Because there was always a time where it would have been easier to just not even cook lunch and then get so hungry later that I ended up binging and gaining a load of weight and feeling like shit, right? So when people say things about like, do your behaviors match your desired outcome, like masculine, like bro marketing kind of thing, that doesn't really resonate with me so much anymore. But what I like to think about is, do I really want this? And if I do I value myself enough to actually do the things I know are going to move me towards this? As always, those things might not be what you think they are. If you're looking to change your body shape, your body might say to you, actually, I want a rest day. I want a bath. I want to have a nap. You might think what you need to do is go to the gym and lift more weights or go for a run, but actually sometimes your body is like, no, I actually know what you need if you want to continue moving towards your ultimate body goal or whatever. I know what you need. I have the wisdom inside of me and I'm telling you to have a rest. And if you keep pushing against that, it's the same as when you don't take action, right? Listening to your body's innate wisdom is the answer to every fucking question you've ever been asking yourself. It's that simple. It's that simple and it's that complex, you know, because we've been conditioned to use this more than the body. If I do gross frog burps, does that indicate large amounts of energy moving? You know what? If you want it to mean that, Philippa, then fucking yes. Why the hell not? I love a good like energy shifting burp. They're so good. What are you burping at? What made you move energy? Tell me. Oh, I love how when people have done one of my energy clearing offerings, they just have to hear me speak and they start moving energy. It's so good. So that's really what I wanted to come on and talk to you about today. It's just like those little moments in your life where you can reinforce a pattern of not feeling that you're worthy, or you can reinforce a pattern of feeling so inherently worthy that it ripples out and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's probably, I keep saying like that's likely why I'm going to start with the will center, because I'm very aware that once we get on the call on Tuesday, the first live stream clearing for Cosmic Wealth, I'm very aware that something else might come through, but so much stuff around worthiness and deserving and like overdoing or not doing anything, like kind of almost stagnating. And I'm feeling like there's so many pieces that are connected to the sacral and to the will center that I'm feeling like one of these might be where we start. But We'll find out on Tuesday when we begin. So if you have any questions about cosmic wealth, do let me know. If you're watching this live or you're watching this on the day I posted it, which is Saturday the something of August, go ahead and check out my Insta stories as well, because I just posted 2 new ways to work with me at highly reduced prices, because I'm just having fun on my Insta stories at the moment. Like, I'm just so over the old paradigm bullshit of like pricing structures, and like I'm just like, I just want to have fun. Like, I literally just want to have fun, and if I feel inspired, I'm just sharing stuff over there. So make sure you're keeping an eye on those. There are 2 offers out today, and if you are coming to join us in Cosmic Wealth, the link is above this live stream, and I cannot wait to see you in there. I was feeling into it on my walk in the woods today, and I actually started crying. I wasn't going to share that, but it's come out. I was just feeling into the energy of it, and I was just tapping to move some energy because I could feel something bubbling, and I just got so emotional because it feels so big and so important, and it just in the most beautiful way. Just, I can feel, when I feel into a container that I'm about to run, I can usually feel it, and it feels so spacious, and it feels freeing, and I can feel like all the bubbles of like all the aha moments and the bubbles that are just going to be popping for people. I can feel a burp brewing even talking about it. But when I feel into the energy of a container, that is what drives me to continue speaking about it, to continue being excited about selling it, because that's what I'm here for. There we go. Excuse me. I'm here to facilitate those fucking bubbly, popping, aha, holy shit, that just completely reframed the way that I see everything in my life moments. Oh my God, I've dropped into a deeper sense of peace around everything in my life, not just money moments, right? Those are the things that make me feel so like nourished when I see those things, those ripples happening in my containers. That to me is like, it's so much bigger than just doing some coaching. You know, this work is not just for us, it is for the whole fucking collective consciousness, and we just get to be a powerful conduit and receive in the process. So I'm totally fucking here for it. If you want to join us, the link is above. Feel free to message me any questions. I am around to answer your questions. Yeah, I'm excited. I love you. Thank you so much for being here live or on the replay. Mwah, 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 mwah. Love you. Bye.